Good afternoon, good evening, this is John Paul Wright. I'm coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. There's a pretty big channel floating around called Geeks and Gamers, and on that channel is a guy named Jeremy, and there are a bunch of people who made avatars of Jeremy. And today we have the president of all those avatars, of all the Jeremys. We have proper Jeremy, and I really wanted this clip because I figured it would be really interesting to see what the president of all those Jeremys thought Star Wars meant to him. And to get serious for a second, it is a very nice clip. It's a little long, so grab some popcorn. Here's the clip.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Proper Jeremy, and today I will be providing the Entertainment Hacker, a video that I promised to do a while ago, but just never really found the right words to really convey, or the right words to concisely convey the message that I'm about to bestow upon you today. So John, my bad. This usually doesn't happen, but you know, with this particular subject, I had to do a lot of thinking, because of course, with telling somebody what Star Wars means to you personally, especially I guess with me, is just so difficult that it requires a lot of thought. So, at any rate, here we go. I was 8 years old when I heard the name Star Wars being floated around, and, you know, I'm a millennial. I grew up on the prequels, so, spoiler alert, I found the VHS of Episode 1 in my basement that my parents owned, and I thought it was the best thing ever. And for some reason, I really liked the character of Jar Jar. And I know, of course, Proper Jeremy likes Jar Jar, he's so soy, yeah, I get it. but seriously though, I didn't realize until later that it was just, you know, first off, you know, the character was made for kids, and I was a kid at the time, so I was the perfect demographic, but also, I realized over time that once I found out about Jar Jar and how disliked he was in the community, I kind of realized that, you know, when I was 8 years old, you know, a lot of kids that I grew up with, you know, didn't really like me either, you know, and I was picked on a lot, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun until I was, like, in middle school. Middle school, yeah, I know, the time when everybody else, you know, is having, you know, the worst time of their life. I was just like, guys, this is a cakewalk compared to elementary school. And that was a rough spot for me, for sure, because... And I'll give you an example. You know, I was picked on relentlessly every day. You know, I didn't get, like, swirlies or anything. You know, it wasn't physical. It was mostly, like, words and all that. But as a kid who was just kind of, you know, marching to a different drummer, it was really tough. And I remember one year at recess, and it was before Episode 3 came out. And for some reason... the people on the playground, the duty aides, they were called, were saying, like, because I took off my jacket and that was a big deal, whatever. They said, if you take it off one more time, we're gonna tell your parents. And then these kids, I kid you not, you know, took my arms and were holding me against my will, and they found a Gatorade bottle full of piss, and they were gonna throw it at me. And the only way for me to escape was to take off my jacket and get out of there. And then I got in trouble, and then my parents found out, you know, because they told them, and they said, well, you're not going to be seeing the new Star Wars movie. And they took my little siblings to go instead on opening weekend, and I was so angry and upset. And I'm still kind of like, you know, Mom, Dad, what were you thinking? You know? And apparently I didn't say the situation correctly. I didn't make it clear, even though I said, like, guys, they were throwing things at me. And I felt like my voice wasn't heard at all. I felt like I was just shut out entirely. And I was devastated because this was an event. This was Star Wars, you know? And at that time, I thought that this was going to be the last Star Wars movie ever. And I thought I was going to miss out on a historical event or something. You know, as a kid, you know, who just discovered Star Wars, you know, a couple years before, you know, I was devastated. I mean, I only, and I remember watching the first, watching episode 1 and 2 on, one in my parents' basement and one at a friend's house, and then my uncle had said, there are more, right? And I was like, what? Really? And he's like, and they're better. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing! And he showed me episodes 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, and that was amazing. And A New Hope is my favorite movie. Well, one of my favorite movies. It's better than Empire. I don't care what anybody says, because Empire at some points bored me to death. But I digress. My main point is that I thought I wasn't going to be able to see the last Star Wars movie in theaters, and I'd never seen a Star Wars movie in theaters, and I never thought I would. But on the last day of school, my father picked me up and said, "Hey kid, we're gonna go to the movies." Took me in, and we saw Star Wars, and we saw Revenge of the Sith, and I was like, oh my god, this is everything that I wanted, because I read everything I could on that movie. Like, I got a bunch of books, and had all these prequel toys, which is kind of cool, because I found them the other day. But anyways, it was incredible. It was one of the best movie-going experiences of my life, and I saw it 2 more times in theaters, and it was amazing. And for me at that time, it was like my parents were taking away the escapism from going to school every day, because going to school every day at that time when I was a kid, with ADHD, was barely diagnosed, and didn't even know how to I felt like I could talk to adults, but I couldn't talk to people my own age. And Star Wars was a way to be like, screw you guys, I'm just gonna go watch Star Wars. I'm gonna escape. Because it got to a point where I attempted on my own life, and luckily it didn't, it didn't happen, but it was not, and I'm not gonna go into detail or anything, but it was not an easy thing to go through in elementary school. So the fact that I was able to have that escapism, I was able to, watch Star Wars all the time, was a blessing. Because without it, would I even be here right now? I have no idea. These kind of questions come in my head all the time. But the main point is that I still had that escapism. I still have that sense of joy that Star Wars gave to me. And what's been happening with Star Wars recently just kind of feels like a slap in the face. Not so much with The Force Awakens or even Rogue One, but the other two, it just, especially the attitude towards fans. It's like the bullies that I grew up with have now gained the series that I used to escape them, and it's just really sad. And it just kind of breaks my heart, because all it is just name calling and saying fans who don't like it, oh, you're just horrible people. It's just, what is wrong with you? I mean, were you ever nerds growing up? Did you ever get your head stuck in a toilet and get a swirly? I mean, maybe JJ did. I have no idea, but I hope not. But I mean, it's just one of those things where I just don't understand what happened. What happened to, these nerds who used to escape? And I honestly envy people who like The Last Jedi and like the direction that Lucasfilm's going, because honestly, this is something that I used to have such a love for, and now I feel like it's been ruined. Other people still have that same feeling, and that's why I kind of envy them, because they had that same feeling that I used to have, and they still do. So anyways, I know this was super long, but there's no shorter way really to say it. I mean, I'm sure there was, but it is what it is. But anyways, that is what Star Wars means to me. Thank you, John, for allowing me this opportunity. And yeah, I mean, this wasn't easy for me really to say, or put in the right words, but hopefully you didn't totally hate it. Take it easy.
Alright, I gotta give Proper Jeremy a big thank you for sending in that clip. And you know what? Once again, I say this every time I make one of these videos, I have never heard anything like that. You know, he got into his troubles with his school life. He got into how he was depressed, kind of similar to what Ivan Ortega said, a little bit different on how they handled things, but again, I was really happy with what he said. You guys let me know what you think of what he said down below in the comments. I'll of course link his channel in the description. He's over 300 subscribers at this time, and please check out his channel. That's it. That's all I got. I'm ending it here. I will see you guys next time. I do shoutouts, special thanks, things like that.